very good morning to you. How are you doing? Where are you getting us from? Take this opportunity to welcome you back again to the Morning Brew Show, whereby this is everything about agriculture, this is everything about agribusiness, this is everything about how can you find funding, how do you get into the most trending businesses, and how do you ensure that your farm not only gives you products but also profits. That your farm not only brings you to a point whereby you can get to a place of sustaining your own livelihood or your family or your community, but you get to a point whereby you can sustain a globe, you can sustain us as a continent through the production that you do on your farm on a daily basis. So on the Morning Brew, I take this opportunity to welcome you. I don't know, last week we had an amazing conversation, had a lineup of a number of things and a number of businesses that you can get into. We spoke about the idea about profits, we spoke about revenue, we spoke about expenses in business, we spoke about what exactly do you do to ensure that you're sustainable. Now, having laid a good background last week and having talked about how do you ensure that your business gives you profit, now it's time that we dive into specific businesses that we have in the marketplace. It is time that we start thinking exactly what are the businesses that bring products that are trendy in the marketplace, and what are some of the products that you can put in the marketplace to make you some good cash flow, some good fortune for yourself, so that even as you're doing your farming, remember we said last week that you're not only a farmer, you're a founder, you are an innovator, you are a creative, you're someone trying to bring a change into this world, but through the production that you get from your farm, whether it's from the soil or from the livestock that you keep. So tune in every day, especially this week, as we will be discussing a very interesting topic on broiler chicken. How do you start a business whereby you're selling broiler chicken and ensure that you're running into profits? Because a number of people don't know how to ensure that these things run the right way. They don't know how to ensure that these things get to the place whereby you can make profits. Even after the whole discussion on exactly how do you make profits, we still have people who don't understand how do I start, where do I go, and how do I approach it. So this week we'll be diving into a very interesting topic that is on broiler chicken rearing, and we will be looking into what are some of the markets that you can serve, how many people need it, what is the demand in different cities and different areas, what exactly do you need to understand when it comes to broilers, what are some of the challenges, the sicknesses, how do you rear them, how do you ensure that your farm exactly produces what you want it to produce. Now, on to today's discussion. Today we are going to talk about broiler chicken, and we will be looking into how do you get them on the farm, and from the farm to cool, from cool to the marketplace. Now, let me break this down for you. When you're starting to rear chicken, or when you're starting to get chicken that are running for you and chicken that gives you sustainability on your farm, you want to look into something very critical and very important, and that is the idea about starting point, because the foundation of any business is critical. When you're starting a business, exactly what you do and how you do it drives the success of it and the sustainability of it. So if you start the wrong way, you're going to rear something that is not worth the while, of course. And what that is going to mean for you is that eventually, after some time, you're going to close, because it's either you start with a lot more that you can handle, or you start with so little that you never realize any reasonable profits, or you start with the right ones and they die, all of them, because of diseases, because of poor care or poor feeding. Now, when you're rearing broiler chicken, let's take a case study of someone young. You just maybe finished your campus, or even someone you've been maybe a family person, a stay-at-home person, and you're thinking, now I have this little capital that I want to get into the business. I'm going to mention to you a number of places that you can get these chicks. One of them being Farmer's Choice and then Ken Chick. They have good chicks. And also you can get them from somewhere else. You can get the people who rear them, who vaccinate them. We have a number of them. It's not only the two big brands. We have a number of people that can provide you the chicks. But the most common one and the most popular is Ken Chick. Why is it a good one? Because number one, they vaccinate the chicks. They give you, the chicks are usually 1 day, so they're really small, and they sell them in packs of 100, and it's really affordable. Thinking about one chick goes for exactly 100 shillings. Maybe on an extreme level, some of the companies maybe can go between 100 to 130 to 150 there. So give yourself a plus of 50 shillings and a minus is not likely to be the case, because usually they're supposed to range from there. 1 day old chicks that are well vaccinated, and the chicks that can sustain you and they can survive. Now that is the number one thing. You need to think about, where do you source your chicks from, because they're going to take exactly between 7 to 8 weeks for them to be ready for the market. And thinking of that, remember, by the time they are hitting the 8th week, you're ready to take the meat to the market. And that is not even the thing that is supposed to make you happy. The thing is that these things are not high maintenance. You just need to know exactly when to introduce a certain kind of meal and when do you get it to the market. And exactly how do you ensure that they are well taken care of. So let me start from, once you've realized this is where you source them. So once you know that you're going to source your chicks from maybe Kenchik, and you've decided a nearby supplier, I know in major towns and in some of these towns you find different branches or franchises that belong to Kenchik. So you can pick them from those areas and then you can take them home. But before you do that, you want to go, first of all, go home. Once you realize that I'm going to source them from this place, then you decide, do you have the capital for the number of chicks that you want to keep? For example, most people want to start with 200, 300 to see the results that they produce to you, and then you can think of maybe adding them. And the biggest problem when it comes to rearing any kind of an animal is space. So it depends with your space. Given your space, you want to ensure that the space you have available, maybe at your home, maybe back at your village, you want to ensure that you've put the space in mind so that you don't bring them there and then they are congested, the floor area is not enough for the chicks to grow and to have the right amount of temperature will come there. So once you've decided, it's good to decide the number of chicks you want to keep. Once you've decided that I want to keep 100 chicks or 200 or 300 or 1,000 or even 5,000, the next thing you want to go is to go back home, go and prepare. Now, how do you prepare? In a previous show, we did an exact synopsis and we took you through the journey of exactly how do you prepare your sheds. How do you ensure that where you're going to keep these animals, it is a clean place, it's a conducive place, and it's a place that they're going to grow the right way. So the first thing that you want to do is go back and prepare that. Now, how do you prepare? I'm going to give you a quick run over of what you need to ensure that there is before we get to the next level. So the first thing that you want to ensure is that you want to ensure that you have covered it very well, that no water can come into the house or any water to go outside. All right. This thing is so critical, because if your facility is not well prepared, if your facility is not well constructed, then rain will destroy your poultry, or if not rain, then other external factors are going to interfere with what you have. So you want to ensure that, number one, you've covered it very well such that they don't get exact direct exposure to water from the atmosphere or elsewhere. Of course, you're going to need some spaces on the front but not on the top. So you want to ensure that the upper side is fully covered, just to ensure that they have a good shade. Number two, they are not exposed to water. And of course, even the holes that you're going to leave on your shed, of course, they're not supposed to be a lot of them. They're supposed to be numbered, because you need to ensure minimal interference of external factors to your poultry, because poultry is a very sensitive thing, and if you do not handle poultry with a lot of care, then you lose the entire stock. So you get a stock of 100 chicks, and then within no time you've spent 10,000, 15,000, you get them there, things from outside are interfering with your poultry, and then what is the next thing? You lose your poultry. So that is the first thing. Ensure that it is well covered. Number two, ensure that the ground whereby they are going to walk on is clean. Number one. Number two, you can apply something like sawdust or rice, what do we call them, husks. Okay, they really help a lot, because they produce that warmth, because you cannot give them a carpet, given that they are going to be excreting, they are going to be pooing here and there. So you don't want to work with a carpet, because that one would have been a better one, but it's not the right thing to do. So the first thing you want to do, get some sawdust, get some rice husk, whatever it is that you need to use, but something that will produce a warm surface for them to step on, because this chicken do not love cold. They don't want to be on tiles. So don't think that you're going to pick a room in your house and put on tiles and then leave them there. I assure you that you're going to lose your poultry, because they want they want somewhere warm, so that when they are stepping there, they do not get infected by diseases, they do not contract diseases. Because the problem with chicken is that the moment it contracts a disease, it spreads it like bushfire. It is here, it is there, that one got it, that one got it. So within no time, all your 500 chickens or chicks are all ill. And now that means either extra expense to vaccinate them and medicate them, or number two, what it means is that you are going to lose all of them. So first things first, ensure that you've covered on the top. Number two, the floor. The floor should be very warm. Number three, decide which is the area that you're going to. This is the process that we call brooding. Remember, so in chicken, they come in stages. So this is the stage of brooding, when they're still young and you're trying to ensure that they're doing well. So we have what we call brooders. Now, a brooder, what it has is that you have to, number one, cover it completely. That gives enough warmth to ensure that warmth doesn't go out and cold doesn't come in. All right, so you want to ensure that your brooder is well fixed. But sometimes, of course, you have to have a temperature, a thermometer, sorry, to measure the temperatures, because there are degrees that when they are exceeded, then it simply means that you're going to lose your poultry. All right, so the first things first, prepare your facility very well, cover it, get something on top. Then on those brooders, you need either to use, we have two types of brooders. We have the traditional way of brooding, that is where you use charcoal stoves, or what you call a jiko. All right, that is when you use a jiko, put it up such that it produces heat, and then that heat now covers the entire brooder, such that the chicks are forever warm. You see, I know you've seen whereby you will see a number of chickens when they have just hatched their chicks. You realize that usually they try to cover the chicks with their wings. And the reason why they do that is because they want to ensure that the chicks are warm at any given time. Sometimes you realize at night it kind of engulfs all of them and then hides them under it, so that at least they do not get exposed to extreme cold conditions, because they are not favorable for a chick. So you want to ensure that you have a brooder that gives out heat, so that your chicks are forever warm. So you can either decide to use the traditional one, as I've told you, is the traditional brooder, which is a charcoal stove. Now that one is easy to light. You put it into your brooder. Once you realize a certain temperature has been reached, you take it out. So it can be somewhere between 28 going to around 30, from 26 to 30 there, depending with what you'll be advised and the place that you are at. Of course, only experts can advise you on that, and you are going to be advised before you start that. So once you have been told the specific temperature that it should not exceed or go below, you ensure that you have a thermometer that tells you the temperatures at this time, it's time to take out the brooders, or the temperature is at this time, it's time to add more heat to the brooding facility. So that is one way of brooding. Number two, we have the electric one. That is the modern one. So we have these big brooders that are electric. One, they are safe and they are more convenient because you can control them. Number one, because by just a touch of a button or a knob, you can control the heat coming out, the heat sustained, the amount of light that the light. You know why? We'll be coming there. But let me first of all finish up with the brooders. So they give, some of them come as a combo. So they produce the light and they give the heat or the warmth to the chicks to ensure that the chicks are in very, very favorable condition, so that they can grow and they do not fall sick. So that is number three. Ensure that your brooding facility is well taken care of. Get brooders according to the level that you can afford, either the traditional one or the modern one. You can choose any of them and use it to do your brooding. From there, the brooding time takes between 2 to 3 weeks, and that is like around 14 days going upward, depending from on where you are at and what exactly you're looking for. So the moment you're done with the brooding, of course, we are going to take up the entire process, but let's go back to you preparing. Now, you've gotten the things that you're going to use for brooding, either traditional Jiko or the modern way of brooding. The other thing that you want to ensure is that there is enough air circulation in that facility, because they need clean air, fresh air at any given time. We need something that is so fresh with your people to ensure that there is nothing wrong with your chicks. Okay, you want them to get as much freshness as possible, And then that takes me to the final point, which is lighting. All right, just an overview. 5 things that are really critical. We've said number 1, you need to cover. Number 2, ensure the flow is okay. Where they're stepping on, it's way beyond so that water do not come together and then dump on it. And then we've spoken about the brooders, the air. Now we're speaking about the lighting. The lighting is so critical. And the reason as to why you need a lot of lighting in your brooding facility is because between the first 2 to 3 weeks, going to 4 weeks, that is between the first 1 month, is so critical for your chick. Because if you do not take good care of your chick the first few days, you're going to lose your chick. And not only can you lose, you can also minimize the quality of meat and the amount of meat you're going to get from your broiler chicken. Because the more you house them the right way, you take care of them, you ensure that every condition is met, the more they are willing to produce more. You see, this is farming. Farming is so simple. What you sow is what you reap. All right, you sow poor seeds and then you have poor rewards. You get a poor breed and then you get poor product. All right, it's as simple as that. So if you do not take care of these animals the right way at the foundational level, by the time we are hitting the 7th and the 8th week, as they will be ready to be sold, you realize some of them are kind of smaller, and you see the market has its own gauge that it takes when it comes to meat. It has to range somewhere between 1.13 there, going to 1.5. Some even go to 1.7, depending with how good the keeping was. So you start realizing you have chickens that are maybe weighing 1 kg or even below sometimes if you do not take good care of them. Whereby now you can get the market confused and think that maybe we are not buying fully developed chicken and we are being sold chicks or young chicken. So you don't want to do that, because that would be bad business for you. So you want to ensure there is enough lighting. Now the lighting ensures that the chicks do not find night time. All right, when there is enough lighting, you see, for the chick is continuously daylight, so they think it's continuously a state whereby they're supposed to be active, and by them being active they have to keep on eating. They will eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, and that is where they find growth. That is where they form the meat. So if by any means you mess up the process of putting enough light, you give them darkness, of course at night they are going to sleep. Sometimes even during the day they are going to sleep, and what that simply means for you is that you will have substandard quality at the end of the 8 weeks. Or even if you don't get the substandard quality, you get a quality that has not attained the right weight or the threshold weight that you're supposed to get. So that is number 5. Number 6, you want to ensure that the feeders are available. Okay, so the trough and the bottles to offer water to your chicks. So you don't want your chicks to be drinking water from everywhere, or get one big bowl somewhere and put water there, because one, they are going to pour it, which is not a very good thing for your facility, because I'm telling you, it's going to make the ground damp. The moment the ground is damp, then it simply means that you will lose your chicks, because they can easily contract an illness. Number two is that you need to ensure that there is a trough for them to feed from, so that you don't get confused between the sawdust that you have put there and the food that you're supposed to give them. Of course, we'll be discussing about the various kinds of feeds that you're supposed to give to your chicken, including what we call the starter, and then we have the growers. All right, so we are going to talk about the different kinds of food at different stages that you need to give to them and what they are reaching, so that you can ensure that you produce a good chicken quality at the end of the 8 weeks. So that is another thing. So you want to ensure that the troughs are in place and the bottles for drinking, they are in place. They are kind of white and red. Some have blue lids and blue troughs, those bottles. So you want to ensure that at any given time you source them from the best. You can get them from a nearby agrovet, or you can get them from Still Kenchik. They can sell them to you. So that is the preparation. You need to ensure that when you go home, these things are in place, so that by the time you're bringing in your chicks, they are in safer hands. Of course, now we'll be discussing about exactly how do you start rearing them, what time do they take, and how do you need to look after them the first 1 month. But for that, We will be back after the short commercial break. Keep it there, keep it Chai TV. Share this with a friend that you think they need it. Share this with people who are trying to get into the same business and you think they need to understand exactly what goes into the process and exactly how do we do it. Because before we even start talking about the money in the business, we need to help you understand exactly how do you start and how do you go. My name is Benson. I'll be back after a short break.
Kuchomoza kabla biashara kuanza, kuna kitu kimoja kinatangulia: chai. Harufu tamu, ladha halisi ya Kenya. Kiru Tea, chai ya roho safi. Si kikombe tu, ni utamaduni wetu.
Hii chai ni moto
Na inachangamsha.
Na hii ni chai gani? Hii ni Kiru Tea.
Na Kiru ni chai tamu.
Kiru Tea, kitu ya nguvu, kitu ya watu, ladha halisi ya Kenya.
Looking for powerful, crystal clear sound for your next event? At Chai TV, we've got you covered nationwide. From weddings to church services, corporate events to outdoor concerts, birthdays to rallies, we deliver top-notch sound systems, microphones, mixers, speakers, DJ setups, lighting, and full audio support to make your event unforgettable. Based in Nairobi but serving the entire country, Chai TV is your trusted partner for quality, reliability, and clean sound that moves the crowd. Call or WhatsApp us today on 0799 220 217. Chai TV, let your sound be heard. Welcome back to the show. Now, we had discussed already about the entire process that you have to ensure that is in place, to ensure that the facility is well and that the facility is running in the right condition and in the right way that you want it to run into. Now, in this section, I want us to talk about the critical time once you've taken them from there and brought them to the facility. Once you've sourced them, maybe from a Kenchik supplier, and now you have them at your homestead. Now, what do you do next? That is what I want us to break down. But before we break that down, I want to give shout outs to the people. I can see we have a number of people who are tuned in. They are live. Spears, you're watching us from Amsterdam. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that this show is educative and is, of course, being impactful to you as well as you are thinking maybe what kind of business you can invest into, or even if you're thinking that you want to do something when it comes to poultry, then, of course, chicken is a good place, and we hope that this week becomes really educative to you. So Spears, I salute you for tuning in. And of course, naona umeniambia salimia Kevin, director wangu, umesalimiwa sana na watu wa diaspora. Yes, and guys, let's keep on tuning in. Let's keep on keeping the movement going. Now, we've spoken about these things, and of course, let me know the questions you have, some of the ideas you have, and what you think we should discuss next, because Our delight is not only to give you the best that we can be able to bring to you, but of course also to ensure that we are answering the questions that you people are having. Now, talking of that, let me go back now to the breakdown. You see, this thing called broiler chicken rearing is among the fastest growing agribusinesses in Kenya. Why is this? Number one is because we are having a lot of demand. Nowadays, you go to the supermarkets, you're finding their chicken coupons. You go to the nearby maybe facility that sells meat, a butchery or stuff, they have this thing. So it's among the fastest growing areas, and given that the new breed of broilers that are coming into play, the demand not only for their meat, but of course for how fast they can be supplied. You see, if you're rearing something like croiler, which is a crossbreed of a broiler and a kienyeji, or something like kienyeji, you see, sometimes it takes a lot more time to mature and to be ready to produce meat. But for a broiler, within 8 weeks, man, you have good meat. You have good meat. Sometimes goes even to 2 kg. So you have good meat by the time you're hitting 8 weeks, 9 weeks there, you're good to go. So that is one of them. Number two, people are eating it a lot. Nowadays, at least out of 10 homes, at least 6 of them buy the broiler chicken meat from different distributors, whether it's a distribution nearby or from a major distribution or a supermarket. People are eating this. So it's a booming business. People have the demand for it. And as I've always said on this show is that one thing you never go wrong with is food. Anything that people need to eat, you never go wrong with it, especially if it is affordable. And broiler, without a question, it is among the most affordable places and the means for you to get any meat. Now, once you've gotten the chicks, let's go back. We'll be discussing about the business part of it. How do you ensure you get profits throughout the week? We will ensure that you get to understand exactly how do you make your money, how do you ensure that you grow your venture. Now, you have already prepared your shed as we spoke. You have already prepared the facility, the brooders are ready, and now you're ready to go and get your chick. Remember, they are day old, just 1 day old chicks, and you're ready to bring them home and start taking care of them. Now, once you bring them home, let me start by saying this: care is so critical. The good thing that gives you an upper hand is that they've been vaccinated, so you don't have to worry about vaccination. But caring for these animals is so critical. It's like a human being. You need to show them care, warmth, and concern throughout the entire process. So throughout the entire 8 weeks, you're not thinking that this is just a business. You want to take enough care of your chicken. And if you cannot do that, hire people, employ people, get labor on site, people who can take care of them, because you need someone who is checking them every day, whether they are 5,000, 10,000, 200. You want to ensure that people can check on them so that if one gets sick, you can identify it faster, and then you can put it, you can seclude it or quarantine it, so that at any given time you have quarantined it such that it doesn't infect the others. All right, so you want people who are giving full-time attention. When it comes to chicken rearing, there's nothing like part-time unless it's kienyeji. When it comes to broilers, you have to be there, or someone has to be there to ensure that they grow consistently. Now, care is so critical for your chicken, very critical. And that starts with the way that you watch over them, the way that you ensure the place is warm, how you clean the shed. Okay, remember, the shoes that you go into to clean the shed with, they're not the same shoe that you go out there to work with. Why? Because out there is a lot of infection, there are a lot of diseases, and it has not been disinfected. Remember, you have to disinfect your brooder, your facility, every now and then, just to ensure they are never getting sick. You keep on disinfecting the place. There is a disinfectant that is not harmful to the chicks, so that you can keep on disinfecting that area such that no bacteria, no virus can come close to your stock. Because this is business, and once the stock is infected, it's bad business for you. So you have to ensure that you take good care of them. So once you've applied the disinfectant and you have put them in the house, you start with what we call the starter. Now, what is the starter? The starter is just a light meal for the chicks because they cannot digest heavy meals. Like a child, the same way a child, there are heavy meals you're not about to give them. So the starter, you're not about to give omena grounds, or you're not about to give it worms, or try to give it a lot of calcium, a lot of magnesium or stuff. So the very first meal that you give to your animal is, number one, a meal rich in magnesium, rich in calcium, and rich in vitamins. Why? Because you want to ensure that the chicks are healthy. Number two, that the chicks are strong. That is where calcium comes in, because they are going through a process of bone formation, forming the bones, the cavity bone, the drumsticks, the wings. They are going through a period of formation. So calcium is so critical. So we have the starter. And you will be advised, even as you go to specialists, they will tell you, and you realize actually usually the meals are the same. What matters is the amounts. Okay, so the amount of calcium that a chick needs is not the amount of calcium that it needs the time that we are giving it to a grower, kind of a pack. All right, and once it stops taking growers, we have what we call finisher, and that is the first one that gets the chicks ready for the market. So the first 2 to 3 weeks you give it what we call starter. All right, the first 14 days, they're so critical. Starter, something rich in calcium, rich in magnesium, rich in vitamins, rich in energy to keep them going. And remember, the light is on, so they are eating consistently for these first 14 days. Trust you me, you're going to invest in a lot of food, because they are eating consistently and continually throughout this time, because they are forming. So as they are forming, remember, you're also sending someone into the facility to check how are they doing, or you yourself, you're doing that. How are they doing exactly? Are they doing the right way? Are they okay? Is every chick healthy, such that it doesn't infect the others? All right. Number two, you are continually cleaning the place, and of course applying disinfectant. From there, by the time you're entering week 3, going to 1 month, 1 week, you start giving it, you start improving and increasing the meal. Remember, you do not change the meals at once. You cannot, today you're giving them starters, then tomorrow, poop, you want to give them growers. You're going to mess up the chicks. You're going to kill them, because their system is going to crash, because it cannot digest heavy meals. So you want to ensure that you're introducing them in levels. So if you are adding, let's say, 20% of calcium, you want now to increase and make it 30 to 40%. If you're adding these, so you start improving on the ratio that you are using to ensure that the chicks get exactly what they need, because at different levels, this chick is going to need different things. At different levels of its growth, this chick is going to need different supply of nutrients. So by the time you're reaching week 4, week 5, you're giving it growers and it's growing. You can even see it. You can look at your chick and realize the drumsticks are getting bigger, the breasts are getting bigger, the chick is big as you're looking at it. So you give it more time, all right? By the time we are approaching week 7, week 8 there, week 9, getting it ready for the market, start giving it what we call a finisher. Now, finisher makes the chick ready for the market. It adds more nutrients, and it also enables the chicken to form more meat. And the more meat you have, the more profits they are coming your way, because the moment you go to the market, you have an upper hand when it comes to bargaining the prices, because everyone wants big meat. Of course, who doesn't? Even you yourself, as you're viewing this right now, if you go to buy meat or you go to buy a chicken, you will be sure to check the size of that chicken, because how heavy it is determines the amount of meat you get, and the amount of meat you get determines how well you're going to enjoy your meals. So that is basically it in an overview, but ensure to seek professional and expert guidance when it comes to the entire process of brooding and taking care of the chicks, because now what we are going to be focusing on is the business now. What is the demand? How much is it going for? And in different markets, what can we derive from that? But until tomorrow, that is when we dive into this. This was the Morning Brew, and we hope that this show keeps on to impact as many farmers as possible, as many organizations as possible out there. You as a student, you as a farmer, you as an agripreneur, this continues to be a fruitful place for you and a valuable place for you. I welcome you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Let's look into the business of broiler chicken and see where some of the markets are and how do we get the money. Today we've spoken about the product. Tomorrow, let's talk about the money in the product. Cheers.